Jesus is not the original name. That's just how it was coined by people who spoke a different language than we did or than
That's
we
true.
do.
That's true.
So, and like Albert said, his people also called Jesus Yesu. And that's not uncommon for most of sub-Saharan Africa, amongst the people who you would call Bantu. Even though in West Africa we don't call ourselves Bantu, but we know that we are the same people, because you can see it in our customs, you can see it in our foods, and even there are a lot of linguistic relation between us. So we broadly use that name Yesu to refer to Jesus. And one would simply assume that it was brought to us by the missionaries. Well, the missionaries weren't exactly saying Yesu, um, with the exception of, we'll say, the Portuguese. The Portuguese used it, but the Germans, we were colonized by Portuguese, Germans, Danes, British, French, you name it. They were all, there. And they didn't use Yesu. And they actually, the others, aside from the Portuguese, did more of missionary work within Africa than the Portuguese. So if we inherited the name from anybody, we should be calling the same names that, let's say, the Bremen Missionary Church used, right? Or the Basil Missionary Organization used, right? Which is Jesus. But that's not the name that is indigenous to us. The name that's indigenous to us is Yesu. And that's because it's actually ancient Hebrew. In my language, we know that my language is ancient Hebrew. I've been teaching on this for a long time. And that's not to say other sub-Saharan African Hebraic languages are not ancient Hebrews. If we understand languages, we know that there are languages and there are dialects. There are variations of languages. So our brothers and sisters also speak ancient Hebrew. We all speak a different dialects of ancient Hebrew. So in my ancient Hebrew tongue, which is called Ava or Avagba, Yesu simply means I am sufficient. I am sufficient. And let your mind stay within the context of the Bible and the Most High. So what is that communicating to us? It's communicating to us that the Most High, God, is sufficient. You don't, for a people who have delved so deeply in idol worship, I will say it plainly, all of us have delved deeply in either idol worship or ancestral worship. Um, for Yesu to come and declare boldly that Yah is sufficient, the Ye stands, it's a personal pronoun, I, but it also stands for the name of Yah. It's an abbreviation of the name of Yah. So for that name to boldly declare to us that I am sufficient, that should tell us that we don't need any other God, right? Any other deity, because the Most High is sufficient for us. Now, you would say, okay, well, Yesu wasn't in the biblical Hebrew. They didn't write it. We have to remember that before there was anything like biblical Hebrew, there was oral tradition, which we
That's true.
continue till today. This is how we pass on information within our African Hebraic context. It's through oral tradition. And oral tradition is not the telephone game. The information is not going to be lost after several decades or centenaries or millennia, because there is a genius behind how the story is packaged in oral tradition. And that genius is preserving the stories in the names. You will see when we go further down, when I present the slides, I'll give some examples. The stories are embedded in the names. So that's why in telling the story of a character, the character may have one name in the beginning of the story that is based on their circumstances. And then later on, when their fortune changes or their destiny changes, they can have another name, A classic example is the name of Jacob, whom you popularly know as Jacob. His name was Jacob in Evegbe, which simply means Yah hides you, protects
Even
you.
in my language is Yakubu.
There you go. Yah hides you. And then as he has the struggle with the heavenly being, and he is given a blessing, his name is changed. And his name is changed to Yasara, which you popularly know as Israel. And that is just ushering him into a new dispensation. Because instead of you are hiding at this point, because if you know his story, I know I'm being a little long-winded, but I'll end it soon. If you know his story, he was hiding from his brother from the time that he bought that birthright from his brother. He was hiding from his brother since then because his brother was seeking him to destroy him. So he was being hidden until he had that encounter, and his name was changed to Yasara. And Yasara really is ushering in that blessing that his ancestors received from the Most High, which is that you'll be a father of many nations. Your descendants are going to be uncountable, like the sands of the shore, the stars of the sky, and all this. And Yasara simply means in the ancient Hebrew, it simply means Yah's congregation or Yah's multitude, Yah's people, the Most High's people. And that's what you call Israel today. So I was just giving you an example of how the oral tradition works. So this is a name, Yesu is a name that we pass down through oral tradition. And, hence the Europeans also got hold of it because our people scattered throughout the whole world. Some of our people, African Hebraic peoples, did dwell in Europe even before the slave trades and all these. They were going there doing exploits and doing business and things like that, settling there. We know of the Jews of Spain and Portugal who are described as being black, and some of them very dark, and in fact when they were being deported by King Ferdinand, um, and Isabella of Portugal, they were sent directly into sub-Saharan Africa, into the coast, into West Africa, into Central Africa, in those areas. Now, the second name that I mentioned, which is the one that you know as Yeshua, in Ebegbe, it's called Yashiwa. Yashiwa simply means the hand of Yah has performed it, or the hand of Yah to perform actions, you see. So if you think about the purpose of Yesu on this earth, what was he doing? He was the right hand of Yah. And the scripture does tell us even that he will sit at the right hand. And there are many scriptures that remind us of Yah saving us by his right hand. He said, I will rescue you with my right hand of righteousness, you see. So he is the hand. You can just Google, Bible verses about Jesus being the hand of God, and you will see so many. So that is Yeshua in Avagba for us. So, and then just to cap it off, go with the Yesu, that name is so indigenous that there are names like unto it within the Ewe culture. We have Dasu, we have Sosu, you have Afasu, and that has to do with the religious persuasion of the people who bear those names. So if you say Yesu, you're saying Yah is sufficient. Somebody also gave the name to their child that is Dasu, which means the serpent deity is sufficient, because like I told you, we African Hebraic people, the number one thing that we have done, which has caused us so much trouble, is worshiping other things other than the Most High Yah, right?
Agreed.
And so, you have people who have serpent deities, and it's not only unique to those people in a land like in Dahomey, but it's actually widespread. There was a serpent deity cult even in um, old Mali, in the Mali Empire. There's a serpent deity cult in Zimbabwe that's called Nyami, and so on and so forth. So, that name is very much integral to the culture. So that name Yesu, because there are others like it. It's not just a one-off kind of name, and we still use those kinds of names today. All right.
Okay. Okay. That was, yeah, that's again, that's the information she presents on a YouTube channel. If you want to hear more on that, simply go on the channel and watch whatever you want to watch. She has a lot of videos. She actually, let me see if I can pull up your channel for those that are interested in following you. Okay. This is a channel. Sherry. Okay. So yes, guys, this is a channel. As you guys can see, she is very active. 110 videos. Yes, so check it out. So, anyways, yes, go ahead, sister. I think yes. If you're in the again, if you're in the comments, I can pull up your questions at the end. I can see that you guys are interacting with us. She's very knowledgeable, keeping sharing the truth. I pray this helps, brother Albert. She's here to help me. That's why she's here, guys. Clearly, you can see that she's very well versed in what she's saying. But yes, sister, go ahead and present your information. Share your screen. If I see your screen, I will pull it up.
Okay. All right. I am picking it out now. The